even on Labor Day weekend, it's a holiday. You guys are having fun with family and friends. We're still giving you live show breaking down your favorite football team, that being the Alabama Crimson Tide. You're rocking and rolling with the best in the business, in my own words. Yours truly, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, bringing you the show live from Birmingham, streaming to you the show on YouTube. Speaking of the channel, go ahead right now, drop that thumbs up, give a like on the show, hit that subscribe button, turn all of those notifications on, hit that bell so that way you can have all the news, notes, and analysis on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. We also got you covered on Facebook and Twitter as well. All forms of social media streaming to you the show. People, we are coming off a week one demolition of the Hurricanes. We're talking about a butt whooping of the U. Alabama putting it on Miami 44-13 over the weekend. Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Finally got a chance to see some football. The crowd was there. The energy in the building. It was awesome. It was fun. It was fantastic. I got to shout out my guys, John Ivory and Justin Smith, who did a tremendous job on the TDA watch party. That was lit. That was fun. Really enjoyed that. Got to shout out my man John Ivory in the production studio today, handling his thing on the ones and twos. We got a lot to talk about tonight, people. We want you, the Bama Nation, being a part of this. You can do this by calling 205-448-1358. That's the number 2. Call in to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you. The daily Super Chat goal, $75. Daily Super Chat goal. Appreciate the support coming from all of you, the Crimson Tide fans. But we jump into now topic number 1 here of the conversation this evening, and it goes to Bryce Young. Now, I will turn the gun on myself. When I mess up, when I'm wrong about something, I have no problem turning the gun on myself. And I was one of the few people out there that had some doubts about Bryce Young. I admit to it. I had some doubts coming in about Bryce Young. But what a performance the sophomore from California put on against Miami, announcing himself to the college football world. Because prior to week 1, people were talking about, JT Daniels this, Spencer Rattler that, DJ Uiagalelei. But at the end of the day, it was Bryce Young going out there and just annihilating a Miami defense. He set records in this matchup. And before I get to the records and stuff like that, the 2 things I came away highly impressed with where Bryce's concern was, number 1, the way he redirected the pass protection, whether he got the offensive line going to the left or the offensive line going to the right. He did a great job setting up the pass protection and providing himself with time to make plays out there on the field. Number 2 thing I was impressed with was how he fared against the rush, fared against the blitz. Manny Diaz brought pressure to him from all angles. Maybe that wasn't the best idea because of how much of a dual-threat quarterback Young is, but I saw a stat, I think it was on ESPN, that against the blitz, Bryce was 12 of 17 passing for 157 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean that's darn good. That's really, really impressive, the way he was able to avoid pressure, avoid the rush, evade tacklers, step up, make plays using his feet out there on the field. Young for the game, 27 of 38 passes completed. That was 71%, 344 yards, had 4 touchdown passes. So I did not get this right in Locker Drop on last week. Bryce Young did have 3+ TD passes, a big-time performance for him. 15 of his 27 completions, that's 55.6%, went for either first downs or touchdowns. So the young brother put on a show. Probably the one area of his game that he will continue to grow in and mature in and get better at is being able to trust his legs when the defense gives him green grass, open field to make plays. And this is not Bryce's fault, due to a lot of times where dual threat quarterbacks are concerned, they are more so higher. They are more higher regarded for their legs and their arm. When you think of dual threat quarterbacks, you think about, well, they can run, well, they're mobile, well, they're athletic, they can move, they can extend plays. No, absolutely. But for a lot of those quarterbacks, they get frustrated by this because they think, well, they're putting so much attention on my legs, they're not focusing on my arm. They're discrediting my arm. They're underestimating, not evaluating my arm enough. So for a lot of those guys, they think, I'm going to show y'all that I can throw the football. It kind of goes back to 2014 with Blake Sims, especially in the game against LSU. He had open running lanes, but he kept kind of hesitating, and y'all were like, run, Blake, run, trust your legs, run. And when he started to run, picking up first downs, making plays, he understood more that, hey, it's still good to use my athleticism. Even though I want to prove I'm a passer, still use the feet. It's the same thing here with Bryce Young. There were moments where he kind of got caught in the middle of, do I run or do I pass? And there was a moment in the game where Bill O'Brien kind of motioned Bryce to the sideline and said, look, man, hey, we respect what you're doing. You're doing a great job. We know you want to be a pure passer. We know you want to be a complete player. And my brother, son, we respect it about you. But hey, when the defense is giving you green grass, when the defense is giving you 10 to 15 yards, take it. Pull it down, take it. But I think he'll get better with that. He'll improve with that as he continues to grow. But the main thing is he played well against the blitz. He directed the pass protection. He fired passes accurately. He looked poised, in control, and poised, confident, in control, in command of the offense, making great plays there with the football. Now, getting to the records that the young man said. First and foremost, his 4 touchdown passes, it tied the Chick-fil-A kickoff game record. And then his 94-yard touchdown strike to Jamison Williams was tied for the second longest touchdown pass in Alabama football history, right with Mac Jones, who hit Jalen Waddle for a 94-yard touchdown in 2018 against Louisiana Lafayette. The longest touchdown pass in Bama history, we know, was 2013 in the Iron Bowl. A.J. McCarron, 99 yards to Amari Cooper versus Auburn. Also, Bryce's numbers of 344 passing yards and 4 touchdowns, the most by a starting quarterback in his debut for Alabama. So this was more than what Jalen Hurts had in his debut, more than what Mac Jones had in his debut, more than what Tua Tagovailoa had in his starting debut, more than what any Bama quarterback has had in its starting debut for the Crimson Tide. So Bryce really went out there and set the world on fire, put the college football world on notice that, hey, you can talk about Spencer Rattler, you can talk about DJ Uiagalelei, you can talk about JT Daniels all you want to, but here I am straight eviscerating this Miami defense that coming in had some pass rushers, had some guys that could get after the quarterback. Bryce Young stepped up, made big play after big play after big play, and then Coach Saban's press conference continued to say he played great, he played outstanding, he played well, he moved the ball, he kept us positive ahead of the chains, he kept the offense flowing, he did what we wanted him to do, but most importantly, he was explosive with it, he was dominant with it, he was confident with it, and just very pleased with the way Young played out there on the field. So once again, people, when I'm wrong, I do not mind pointing the gun at myself. I do not mind admitting when I am wrong about something. So, I had my doubts early on, I did. But Steven is cool now after seeing what the young brother showed out there against Miami. Bryce Young got my full, undivided attention out here for the remainder of this season. But folks, we take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial, just getting started. When we get back, we entertain your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your questions, your interactions. We get to you, the Bama fan base, right after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up.
This is Neil, former Alabama wide receiver, and you're listening to In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith with Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And I got 2 words to say, baby. Roll Tide.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
All right, people, we are back in from the break with number 1 ticket for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine, even on Labor Day weekend, giving you live show, live action, talking your Crimson Tide. As always, people, the daily Super Chat goes $75. Daily Super Chat go. Appreciate the love coming from all of you. But as we're back in from the break, we go to the phone lines now to take your calls. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358 is the number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. And we start this thing off with my man Robert from Mobile. Rob, what's going on? And first and foremost, Rob, this is the anniversary of your 50th call to this show. Congratulations, man. But Rob, how you feeling?
Oh, okay. That's great. I didn't realize there were so many. Hey, well, after a show like Bryce Young put on, I'm feeling really good. It's like, man, we kind of was expecting a step back for the offense because, who expects 2 all-time great back-to-back offenses in a row? It's a rare, any program is able to do such a thing. So, we was at least expecting, at least a step back. What they averaged like 40, almost 48 points a game last year. A step back is maybe 40 points, maybe, 35, 40 points, which is still really good, even, with a step back. But with the way Bryce played, the step is more like maybe a shift or a shuffle or something. It's not a step. It's not even a half step. It's like he just shifted gears or something. We just shifted gears or something. His performance was just outstanding. You could definitely tell he learned a lot from Mac Jones and from that year of sitting behind Mac Jones, waiting his turn. And when Mac passed the torch, we were all kind of wondering, okay, well, is this really a torch passing? Yeah, it was a torch passing, no question about it. He learned from the system and he learned from the process, and he still came out there and executed and performed. I agree with you on there was a couple times in the game, one time in particular, on the second drive, that it could have been, we probably could have turned it into a touchdown had he taken off running a little bit sooner. A couple of times he had his opportunity. But again, that'll come with time. And he missed Jameson Williams on one pass early in the game. But that 94-yarder. I mean, he definitely figured out Jameson's wisdom, speed, and timing before that 94-yarder. So those things will come, and that's the scary part for the rest of college football. As good as he played, there's room for improvement. He can actually get better, and if he gets better, goodness gracious, what's going to happen to you when he gets better? And he definitely shows he's smart. He knows, his instincts are good. They're not perfect yet, but they're getting there. And when he gets those instincts really toned in, that's when he can really take off. The offense can really take off with him as more than it's already had. But it was really good to see Trey Sanders get that touchdown. Good. Nick Saban called him out in his press conference, or one of his press conferences, and it was rightfully so. It was a great thing to see with that Trey Sanders got a touchdown. The defense looked absolutely awesome. The advertisement was not exaggerated. The defense is as good as advertised. And I saw you make Nick Saban chuckle a bit when you asked him his question about Will Reichert, and Nick Saban said, "Yeah, he did good because the offense would have preferred to score a touchdown, but it's great to give Will Reichert a chance to show that he's still in perfection mode from last season. Last season wasn't a fluke. The guy is still perfect. I kind of wish if you're going to get the miss out of the way with Mercer, against Mercer, because we know it's going to happen. Like just miss one against Mercer. that way you'll be ready for the big game. Just in case we need you. Although the way Bryce Young is playing and the offense is playing, we won't need him. It's tough to hear about Allen. I mean, that was the one down spot of the day is losing Allen. Oh, and I'll ask you to comment on what you think about LSU and what they're doing and their step back. And another thing Bryce Young's going to have to carry, he's going to have to now carry the mantle of Heisman front runner. And he's going to have to carry it for a while.
Appreciate those thoughts there come from Robert from Mobile. LSU, we'll see. Took a tough loss there to UCLA, but we'll see. But the team as a whole, Rob, I mean, Bryce played well. Was happy to see Trey Sanders score. Receivers looked good. Defense, I told people, this defense is on one. They're playing with their hair on fire. They're tired of being picked on, and they showed that they're ready to get that thing done this season. But we go to our next call here in the queue. You are live on the show. What's going on? State your name and where you're calling from. How you feeling?
How you doing? It's Wyatt from Calera.
What's going on, my man? How you feeling on today?
Stephen, I'm feeling fantastic. And I'm going to tell you why. I have been an Alabama fan. I'm talking about probably going on about 37 years now. And I'm a season ticket holder. I go to all the games. I try to, especially the season openers. And last year, the fans and Corona, whatever you want to call it. This has been one of the best season and opening games I've been to in quite some time. And it was as a dominating performance as I've seen. Not just the Nick Saban era, but even going back to when Gene Stallings was a head coach. I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, we probably should have even held them down to maybe 3 points, and they got that one touchdown there at the end after the fumble from Bryce or whatever. Well, I can't even remember. I probably had a couple too many drinks. But anyway, I'm so fired up, man. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but I'm thinking we might well just go ahead and just put up the second championship trophy. I mean, might as well just go and card it out there.
Appreciate my man Dwight there calling in from Calera. I mean, it was a good game. It was a good game. And going back to the fumble, that was not on Bryce. Coach Saban mentioned there was a protection it was a call that the protection did not pick up the blitz coming off of that left side of the right side of Bryce, and the guy got to him and hit him, got the sack, ball popped out. So that was not solely on Bryce, but was a strong game regardless of that little issue right there. But we grab our next call here. You're live on the show on a Monday. What's going on? How you feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hello, Stephen. Bill from New York.
My man Bill, what's happening, brother?
All right. Well, you and the couple of the previous callers, you talked about the offense so well. I just want to touch on it a little more and then switch to the defense if I could. First of all, Evan Neal was absolutely crushing people to the point where I almost felt sorry for them, but no, I didn't. I mean, but he was just absolutely steamrolling people. It was so great to see. Also, Trey Sanders, I waited for years for that kid to come around, and he did. And JoJo Earl, I understand now what you were talking about. You can't cover that kid. All right, now I want to talk about the defense. Because that's my thing. Look, Chris Allen, great player, great guy, praying for him, want him back, and it's really sad. But I got to tell you, when Sanders came in, he looked like he was let out of a cage Now they weren't rushing him as much, as they do Chris Allen, because we'll see what he's got as a pass rusher. But he looked like an NFL linebacker on coverage. He looked like Kuechly, or whatever his name was, who was on Carolina. That guy looked good. And my man Moody, what does he do besides make plays? He came in, he's picking off passes, he's hitting people. Wow. I'm thinking this linebacker squad might have 8 or 9 people that are going to make the NFL. God bless them. Oh, and the last thing, got to tell you, I called in the show, like the game show, like a little after halftime. I want to compliment the man who did an imitation of me. I didn't know I was that much of a celebrity, but he sounded good, and the show was great, and I want to thank you. And I'm talking about Roll Tide, Stephen. Roll Tide.
Absolutely. Gotta love my man Bill from New York calling into the show. And the linebackers are fast. The linebackers looked great. I was so proud of Trey Sanders scoring that touchdown. I almost cried as he walked into the end zone there. But it's just a good feeling, yet the crowd on hand, big ratings from the game, and just starting off making a statement to the rest of college football. But Alabama continues to just reload under Coach Saban. That's the main deal there. This program does not rebuild. It just puts more banana clips in the chamber, and it reloads. But we take our next call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on a Monday? How you feeling? State your name and where you're calling from.
I'm on the show.
You're on the show, caller. You're live.
Oh, this is Drew from Atlanta, Georgia.
What's going on, Drew?
Real quick, because I haven't heard too many people say something about it. What's going on with Tim Smith, man? Keep seeing Big 94 in there, which is, that isn't too bad of a trade-off either. But, man, Tim Smith just got a different agile to him on that defensive line. And for some reason, man, he just don't get in the game.
He will get in the game, Drew. He'll get in the game, Drew, more this season. Especially against Mercer, he'll get out there. And as the season progresses, he'll get out there because the teammates have talked so much about what you just said, Tim Smith's agility, his aggression, his passion, most importantly, his maturity as a player, and he can play all over that defensive line. So from this game coming up here against Mercer throughout the rest of the season, you'll see more of Tim Smith. Appreciate Drew from Atlanta for that call right there. We go to our next call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How you feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hello, it's Danny in Brooklyn.
My man Danny from Brooklyn. What's going on, man? Well, Andy from Brooklyn. What's going on?
They called me Alabama here, and, I wanted to fill you in on Bryce Young. He's going to mature, and he's going to run down that field. He's going to be down that field a lot. He's going to be following them greener pastures, and the defense they've got the opportunity to be the defense of '92 season. So. It's totally amazing, but I have no doubts about Bryce Young. He's going to mature well. And what are your thoughts on that?
I think Bryce Young is going to be great here. I mean, I had my doubts early on, but from watching that game, played extremely well, especially against the blitz. He'll get better with making the decision to run the football a little quicker when he has green grass in front of him and time to get out the pocket and make those types of plays. But overall, thought Bryce did really well. Defense played well. Appreciate my man Danny from Brooklyn for that call there. We got a few super chats to get to here on the show. So we start with my man Spencer Everly. That $5 donation helping us out right there. Appreciate the love from Spencer. Then we got Dwight Lewis, that $19.99 coming from Dwight Lewis helping us out. Is that my man Bill? Bill from New York with that $5 donation. Appreciate the love there coming from Bill, helping us out here on the show. Appreciate all the love from you guys. But before we get back to the calls here, a quick topic, and it does go to Christopher Allen, outside linebacker for Alabama. The news came out, with the confirmations, I should say, of the news came out today. He suffered a foot fracture in the game against Miami. Foot fracture. His foot will require surgery. He will miss the remainder of the season. And I hate this because, Chris Allen's one of my guys, one of my boys. I've spent time, with CA and, a guy that was really about to take his draft stock to the next level. But this is the big part of the process here, being able to have that next man up, knowing it's your time. And it's Drew Sanders' time, former 5-star from Texas, came in the 2020 class. He was one of the defensive players in that class that got a lot of conversation, a lot of attention. Now it's Drew's time. He had 6 tackles in the matchup against Miami. So looking forward to watching Drew. But not just him, Chris Braswell is going to get more of an opportunity, another 2020 guy. And then keep your eyes on Dallas Turner, the 5-star freshman in this past class. Coach Saban said he's going to get worked in more. So the depth at outside linebacker, very scary, even with the injury there to Chris Allen. But we take a call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on? What's happening? How you feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
It's James Knox calling from Washington, D.C.
My boy James from D.C. What's happening, baby?
Not much. I'm happy that we won it. I loved the live chat of the game the other day. I missed out on Ian Gold, though. I couldn't sync everything up. We'd have been way behind trying to sync it up with the radio. Chris Braswell does need to step it up. It's his time. It's definitely his time. And he's from our area. He got to perform for us. And I just love everything about the show. And I'll be calling back again. Thank you.
Appreciate the call. That's my man James out of the D.C. area right there. I mean, it was a good game. It was a great game between Alabama and Miami. Now, Miami did some talking early on, but we saw from watching it, Bama was ready and prepared for the Hurricanes right there. But we take a call right here. You are live on the show. What's going on? How you feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Well, I got in here at the end, Stephen. This is El Presidento here, Wayland, calling from Jasper, Alabama. There, I hope everybody's doing well tonight there. Well, I was impressed, really impressed there Saturday with what the team done on offense and defense, being balanced as they was. We hadn't saw that in a long time. To me, we hadn't saw it in 3 or 4 years. We've had some good football teams, but not all the way around totally balanced like it was Saturday. And Chris Allen going there, I tell you what, that's going to be a hard, tough, that's a tough man to lose there on defense, the way he could rush that quarterback comparing some of them guys were being compared to Derek Thomas. And when you get compared to Derek Thomas, you're really doing something there. So we'll let these other guys step up, and I hope they do step up. It seems like it happened to us every year, though. We get a major player that gets hurt, and I don't know. It's just one of those things, I guess, that happens. It's football. But anyway, we want to remember Jim Fuller right quick before we get out of here. Jim played for Coach Bryant 64, 65, 66. Jim passed away. Coach with Coach Perkins. Coach with Coach Stallings on 92 team. We want to remember Keith McCants, one of the best all-time linebackers ever played at Alabama in 1989. He had 119 tackles in 1989. That's pretty hard to beat, Stephen. So, give me your outlook on the team, man. What do you think about the defense? Did you like it? Did you like the old-style defense?
I liked the defense on Saturday. Guys were flying to the ball. Guys were making plays. Proud of that group. And Waylon, we got your picture, so your picture will be featured on the show, on next show. So we got your picture.
Okay, sounds good. Blue Ridge Gang, y'all looking good. I got to cut out of here. Everybody in the Blue Ridge Gang, cities, towns, countries, and states. I always say it. TDA appreciates every one of you. I do too. Everybody stay safe. Once again, let's say prayers for our country. We've had devastation with this hurricane and our troops overseas and stuff. So let's say a prayer tonight for these people. And we love everybody. We'll be back on Wednesday. And y'all be safe. And bye-bye, everyone.
Appreciate the call. They're coming from weighing in on a Monday. We got a couple of super chats to get to, or a few super chats, as I should say. So first and foremost, we're going to start this thing off with Willie351. That's 777. And the super chats, as John's got the horn going. Willie351, that's 777. How about my man Warren Whitfield with that 50 piece? That $50 donation in the super chats. And I think he's also got a question here. So Warren Whitfield asks, do you think Coach Saban will sit Bryce Young after the first quarter against Mercer here this upcoming week? I think he should, and I think he will. I think if Bryce goes out there, handles business after the first quarter, I think he will sit Bryce, and then you'll look at, seeing Paul Tyson out there, seeing Jalen Milroe out there more, getting the reps, getting the experience, getting the continuity and the flow of the offense. But, Bryce goes out there, handles business, first quarter against Mercer. We'll see some other guys take the field. Daily Super Chat goal of $75 has been met. Appreciate the love from all of you guys. We go to a break right now on the show. When we get back, we'll dive into the other offensive standouts that had big-time performances against Miami. We'll break them down after this.
I'm Malachi Moore, and you're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith on Touchdown Alabama YouTube channel.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We are back into the action here, folks, from the break on the number one forum for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, providing to you live show, even on Labor Day weekend, talking Tide. And for everybody in the call-in queue, hold through this segment right here. After this segment, we'll come back from the break, taking more of your phone calls. But after discussing what Bryce Young did in his starting debut against Miami, it's the Alabama quarterback, we're going to dive into some of the other offensive standouts that had strong performances against the Hurricanes in Atlanta. And we're going to open this up with the offensive line. I thought Alabama's offensive line did a solid job. I thought they were solid in the game. And we knew going in that there was going to be some shuffling going on, because Coach Saban mentioned how, everybody has not been fully healthy. Guys have been banged up through fall camp, and there were going to be some mixing and matching going on up front. And Alabama had Darian Dalcourt at center. I kind of knew that was going to happen, so Dalcourt was at center. It had Chris Owens at right tackle. Now that I didn't quite see happening, but Owens has played a lot of football along the offensive line, whether it's at center, guard, tackle, and even some as a blocking tight end in that C gap right there. So Owens has played a lot of football. Kendall Randolph was able to get out there, recovering from a minor ankle sprain, little ankle injury, and he was able to play in that C gap there at that tight end spot. So despite the mixing and matching that took place, I still thought the offensive line opened up holes in the run game, got Brian Robinson, Jace McClellan, Trey Sanders, all of those guys going. But also, for the most part, the guys protected Bryce Young. Like, Bryce Young was only sacked one time in the game. Now, of course, the one time was a protection did not get picked up on the back end, and a guy got to Young, hit him, got the sack, ball popped out, fumble, that ordeal right there. But for the most part, the offensive line did give Bryce enough time to make the throws from the pocket, target guys downfield, and also it gave Bryce time to pull the ball down if he wanted to and create some opportunities. with his feet. So I felt like offensive line solid despite the mixing and matching that took place. As we go now to the wide receivers, wide receiver room is lethal. Even with Devontae Smith gone, even with Jalen Waddle gone, how about John Mechie? How about Hop Step John Mechie? Even though the national media doesn't give him enough attention as the number 1 receiver for the Crimson Tide, Mechie still led the team in receptions with 6, had 72 yards, including a 37-yard touchdown where he rolls with Bryce, he makes the catch, he turns on the Jets, and showed tremendous body control, extending the ball inside the pylon for a touchdown. So great effort there being shown by John Mechie. And I told y'all, Jameson Williams, breakout player. Jameson Williams, potential breakout player against Miami. Boy, did he break out. 4 catches for $126, including go-go gadget speed. 94 yards to the bucket. 94 yards to the painted grass for a score against the Canes. And you want to talk about Henry Ruggs and that 23 mile per hour speed on the field. Jameson Williams matched that 23 miles per hour. So Williams has got Ruggs type speed, Jalen Waddle type speed, getting it down the field. His mouthpiece came out. He was running so fast, but he wasn't even worried about the darn mouthpiece. He was trying to get in the painted grass. So Jameson Williams doing his thing out there. You even had other receivers make plays. I mean, Slade Bolden had a couple of catches. JoJo Earl had a couple of catches. Javon Baker had a couple of catches. So Bryce Young spreading the ball around to a number of different receivers. 9 different guys caught a ball. But John Mechie, Jameson Williams, the big beneficiaries against the Canes. As we go now to the running backs right here, running backs played well. Brian Robinson ran like a man possessed. Brian Robinson ran like somebody said something about his mama, and he was ready to slap everybody. Brian Robinson was out there running angry. He was throwing guys off and breaking tackles and shoving guys to the ground. He had a little wiggle to him, had a little speed to him also, pushing the pile. Now, I know when you look at the stat sheet and you see 12 carries for 60 yards by B-Rob's name, you think that's not a big deal, but there were 3 runs B-Rob had in that game. If he would have broken one more tackle off any of those runs, he would have been gone. And one in particular was on my side of the field where he ran off of Chris Owens. He had sidestepped the guy. He had broke another tackle, and he was about to turn up, and a guy caught him by the shoestring, tripped him up after a 6-yard gain, and all you saw was the Tuscaloosa man pound the ground because he knew if I would have broken that tackle, I would have been gone to the house. But B-Rob played well. Jace McClellan had a couple of nifty runs, including a 20-yard run in the matchup. And Trey Sanders, for all this young man has been through, and this is one that I did get right on Lock or Drop. Told y'all, Trey Sanders will record his first career rushing touchdown against Miami. But for all that Trey has been through, with the car accident and the injuries, the significant injuries from that, have been a significant foot injury from his freshman year in 2019. Coach Saban talked about it. There were moments where the training staff, the coaching staff, the medical staff, and Trey Sanders himself thought that, what if he does not get back? There was serious doubt among everybody. But the work ethic, the heart, the fight, the determination of Sanders got back on the field, and in the third quarter, 20-yard touchdown run, huge weight lifted off his shoulders, just a feel-good story. So proud of Trey Sanders. And then, last but not least here, in terms of offense, Cameron Latou, the tight end. I mean, that woke Jaleel Billingsley up right there. I know Jaleel and Coach Saban had a little heart-to-heart there on the sideline. Things have been patched up between those two as a teachable moment right there. But I truly believe Nick Saban was going, hey, Jaleel, you see Cam Latou, right? This should be you out here. You see Big 81 getting his shine. You see Big 81 getting his eat on, his grizzy on, his game on. All the national folks looking at him. That should be you. You got to buy in. That should be you out there, because Big Cam Latou was getting to the paper, was getting to the touchdowns. He had 3 catches, 2 of them for scores, showing you that he's got NFL potential as well. The 6'5", 250-pounder making plays out there on the field. And in the press conference, Coach Saban mentioned that there was going to be a point in time where the 2 had to make that transition to tight end, and very, very proud and glad that he did, because the young man had a breakout game, a breakout performance. Looking forward to seeing more from him on the field, as Big 81 has become one of the favorite targets for Bryce Young in the red zone. But folks, those were just more of the offensive standout players that did their thing against Miami for Alabama. We take another break right here on the show. Don't touch that dial, because when we return, it's back on you, Tide Nation. Your phone calls, your thoughts, your conversations, your ideas. We're back to you after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now, as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith. Brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit weownthefourthquarter.com now to get your 4-finger bling necklace.
This is Chris Rogers, 2009 national champion. You are listening to the baddest, when I say the baddest, sports show in the state of Alabama. In my own words, you know, yours truly, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Don't touch that dial.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans, as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters.
Look at all these great players in Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Man, wait till I turn up this year. I'm gonna be on the front cover. But what if Will goes off? Or Joe, DeMarco, Chris, Tim, Christian.
Don't wait. Order now at touchdownalabama.com or call 833-483-2624 today.
Christian, or Jameer.
We're back in, folks. Back into the action from the break on the number 1 show for your Crimson Tide football news on Labor Day weekend. Yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. In my own words, we are returning to the phone lines to take your calls. Call statement brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. That's the number right there, 205-448-1358. We grab a call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How you feeling? State your name and where you're calling from.
What's going on, Steven? It's Eric from Georgia.
Eric, what's going on, my man?
Hey, nothing much, Steven, but you might not have to eat the whole crow on Bryce Young, but you might have to eat a little wing, right? You might have to eat a little wing on Bryce Young, because you thought he wasn't gonna be able to follow up now, Steven. And he showed out a little bit. But the thing is though, when you're replacing that many starters, I think, some Alabama fans, we kind of all thought, you're replacing Mac, Devontae, Najee, we're thinking like, hey, a lot of these guys hadn't started yet. We're trying to see how things are going to work out, but it ended up going good. The only side that I was looking at is I did not think, as much as everybody was hyping up Miami, I just really didn't see it. I went back, I watched some of King's, football games from last season. I looked at him at Houston. I didn't buy into all of the hype, as much as everybody else did. I knew he was going to be able to use his legs. I saw that threat, but what did you think Miami was going to bring to the game? And how surprised were you that you didn't see any of that? What's your take?
My thought on Miami was I thought they would try to stretch the ball more so downfield. I knew that even with Alabama having a veteran secondary, my thoughts were Miami would try to stretch the ball downfield. I was surprised that they did not do that as much. It was a lot of underneath stuff, but at the same time, you got to give the Alabama defense a ton of credit. They prepared well, they planned well, and for the last 3 years prior to this game, this defense has been told you have dropped the standard. And this was a defense against Miami that looked like they grabbed that standard back from the defensive line to the linebackers to the secondary. They played with a tremendous edge to them. Appreciate that call there coming from my man Eric there out of Georgia. Yes, I am eating my wing crow. I have turned the metaphorical gun on myself in terms of Bryce Young. He was fantastic. We take our next call right here. What's going on? You are live on the show. How you feeling? State your name and where you're calling from.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You're live on the show.
Well, hey, Steven, thanks for letting me in on the call. This is Byron from Brooklyn.
All right, Byron, what's going on?
Well, I just want to talk a little bit about the team there. Now that we see the outcome is what it is, and we kind of can lay an eye on the team, I want to talk about some specific players just for me that I think that are going to be amazing. Big Phil Mathis. Now, I know we got Will Anderson over there, but Big Phil Mathis, I think he can play himself into a first rounder. If you can see how he's been coming along each year, it looks like he's prime time to just really go crazy with Will Anderson over there collapsing the pocket. Really wanted to see Chris Allen and then Will Anderson together. That looked like that would have been crazy, man. Just really hurts to lose Chris Allen, but I really want to see Drew Sanders now. You know, he's been putting in the work, not necessarily getting the playing time, but we got a sample size from the game. Looks like he's big and rangy and he knows where to be. So I'm anxious to see Drew Sanders. Two more players, and I'll get out of here and let me hear what you got to say. Malachi Moore and Brian Branch. Now, Steven, let me tell you something. What I see Malachi Moore, to me, he looks like a young honey badger, the Alabama version. Brian Branch reminds me of Minkah Fitzpatrick. That's all I got to say. Steven, thank you. Love the show, and I'll be tapped in with you. Keep up the great work. Talk to you later.
Appreciate the call right there. So looking forward to seeing Drew Sanders. Absolutely. This was somebody of whom everybody has been talking about since he came in 2020, ready to see him get on the field. Brian Branch and Malachi Moore, 13 and 14, them twins, 13 and 14 out there doing it. Now, this is interesting. I never heard people look at Brian Branch as Minkah Fitzpatrick. Most folks look at Malachi Moore as Minkah. But comparing Malachi to Tyron Honey Badger Matthew and Brian Branch to Minkah, that's a new one right there. We take this call right here. You're live on the show. What's happening? What's going on? State your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, Steven, I'm glad to hear all these folks from New York calling in there. This is William from Iowa, Denison.
How we doing, Will? What's going on?
I am doing just great, man. I watched the game Saturday, and I was really impressed. I seen that Miami's coach was having a fit out there on the field.
He pulled his best Ed Ogeron impersonation.
I love it. And I just got a quick question for you, and then I'll get off of here. And wanted to know if we was going to be able to see Coach Smith on the program sometime this year.
You know what? That's a good question. We'll see. We'll see. You know, I had to keep Coach Smith down a little bit. He's a little bit crazy, but we'll see.
All righty, man. Appreciate it. Enjoy the program. Roll Tide.
Appreciate the call there coming from our man William Bryant out of Iowa right there. And everybody that's been calling in on a Monday showing the support here on the show. We're going to go to a quick topic here, and that's the grades topic. We're looking at grades here for Alabama in the win over Miami. So as my man John's getting the grades here on screen, first and foremost, Bryce Young offensively, that's an A. That's an A for Bryce Young, an A performance. 28 for 37 passing, over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, set records. Dominant debut as the Crimson Tide starting quarterback. You even got some people that have jumped him to number 1 in the Heisman conversation, but Bryce Young, A effort from me. As we go down now to the wide receivers, A for the wide receivers. Metching looked good. Jamison Williams, a burner. Slade had a couple catches. Javon Baker, a couple catches. JoJo Earl, a couple catches. Once again, 9 receiving options were targeted. A there for the wide receivers. As we go to the running backs here, a B for this group. I mean, Roydell Williams had the fumble there. He got on it. He recovered it. Alabama didn't have a 100-yard rusher, but at the same time, B-Rob looked good. Jace McClellan had some good runs. Trey Sanders, the feel-good touchdown. A B there for the running back room. In terms of the offensive line, a B for the offensive line. Bryce Young was sacked in the game. Ball came out fumbled. Got to get that protection a bit better. Got to have a concrete starting five on the offensive line as Bama's working some guys back for being nicked up, banged up. But for the most part, created holes in the run game, protected Bryce Young, allowed him to have a big day. B for the offensive line. For the defense here, an A for the defense. Defense got push. Defense of line got penetration. Linebackers, Christian Harris, Henry To'o, everybody was flying like man-children all over the field, knocking people's heads off, making plays. Secondary, Malachi Moore got a pick there. There were a couple of ticky-tack pass interference calls. A couple of those should not have been called, but it is what it is. A, at the end of the day for the defense, holding Miami to 13 points, 266 yards total offense. And then how about Will Cash Money Reichert? A for him. It just feels so good to have a field goal kicker and not have to go through the smoking and drinking and cussing and holding hand rituals trying to get the kicker to make a field goal. No more of that. No more of that nonsense. Will Reichert, confident as all get out, making all three of his field goals 38, 40, and 51 yards. He accounted for 14 of Alabama's 44 points, but was even more impressive, all 7 of his kickoffs were touchbacks. Miami did not return a single kick there off Reichert, and the team knows how contagious the offensive energy is when you have a kicker that can come in there confidently and automatically drill field goals. With A there for one Will Reichert. But those are the grades for this week, ending week 1 of the football season as Alabama got the win there over Miami. We go to another break here on the show. Don't touch that dial, because when we get back, we go into the defense. We break down the defensive standouts from the matchup against Miami. Don't touch that dial, folks. We'll be back.
What's up, nation? This is Rudy Griffin, former Alabama defensive lineman, and you're listening to my guy, Stephen M. Smith, in my own words, brought to you by Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Roll Tide, roll!
If you're an Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, people, we're in here from the break on a Monday, Labor Day weekend. Hottest show on the streets, though. Number 1 forum for Bama football news, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. And before we get into the defensive standout players for Alabama against Miami. Got to remind you of TDAwear.com. That is TDAwear.com. So for all of you still overjoyed with the Crimson Tide's national championship from the 2020 season, we want you guys to check out our championship collection merch. Now this means you grab you an 18 of them things, folk, hoodie, t-shirt, or sweatshirt, as well as our Got 18 We Do shirts. Designs that feature all 18 championship years on the back. You head on over to TDAwear.com. Do it right now, TDAwear.com. You go over Championship Connections merch tab, and you get you that gear today. Show them that support for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Well, as dominant as the offense was, as fun as it was to watch Bill O'Brien, his debut as the offensive coordinator, have success. Bryce Young and his debut as the starting quarterback have success. All the success for the offense with it scoring 44 points. We now get into the defensive standout players from the Week 1 matchup against Miami. And starting this thing off, I mean the defensive line. Like I said, the front line, DJ Dale, Fadarian Mathis, Justin Boygby, all the guys that were rotated in. You talk about a consistent push. You talk about consistent penetration. Cameron Harris, the running back for Miami, got absolutely nothing. De'Aaron King, the quarterback for Miami that likes to run, got absolutely nothing. There was a play in the game. Will Anderson came out like a bat from New York and almost got to King. King spins off of Anderson, and he gets met by Phil Mathis, and the whole team jumped on De'Aaron King for loss of yardage on the play. So defensive front penetration, defensive front push, defensive front play nasty. It controlled the line of scrimmage. It had Miami behind, but down in distance more times than not. When you look at the linebackers here, in particular, Henry To'oto'o and Christian Harris, those guys were flying all over the field. Christian Harris had like 5 to 6 tackles. Henry To'oto'o had 7 stops. I mean, they were hitting gaps. They were throwing their bodies everywhere. They were making tackles. It looked like the 2015, 2016, 2017 defenses for the Crimson Tide. Guys were making big plays all over the field. No 100-yard rusher for Miami. The Hurricanes only had 266 total yards offensively because of the linebackers. Bama got off the field on third down. Miami converted 6 of 14. So Miami won. Alabama won 8 of those third downs over the Canes. And just going to Henry To'oto'o for a second. Henry T, there was a play. It was 4th down and goal from like the 1-foot line. Miami's thinking it's going to score, running King up the middle like a up the middle sneak play. And Henry T with Will Anderson, they converge and stuff him for no gain, no points, turnover on downs. Just a huge play right there. And then Jalen Moody got a pick. Jalen Moody, an interception, and would have had a pick 6 if not for a block in the back. Somebody blocked in the back on the play, but Jalen Moody still a big moment for him. So the linebacker stepped up. When you look at the Alabama secondary, of course, Jalen Armour-Davis played well, had a couple of really nice tackles in the matchup. Josh Jobe did his thing. No pass interference called on Jobe. No holding called on Jobe. So Jobe had a big game. Jobe had a strong performance. Jordan Battle played well. But how about Malachi Moore? Malachi with the pick in the game. Malachi with his 4th career interception. Guys, let this sink in. Malachi is often compared to Minkah. Minkah Fitzpatrick ended his college career with 9 interceptions. Yes, he had 6 of those picks in the 2016 season, but he ended his career with 9 picks. Minkah did. Malachi already has 4 for his career. He's a sophomore. Let that sink in. Malachi gonna catch Minkah. Let that sink in. Eddie Jackson also ended his career with 9 picks at Alabama. Now, 5 of those for Eddie came in the 2015 season. Once again, Eddie 9. Malachi's got 4. So Malachi's going to catch both of these two guys before his career is done. And, big moment for him getting that interception. Brian Branch had some good moments in the game as well. But the secondary as a whole, it stayed on the receivers. It gave up only one, big play of a touchdown there, late in the second half. So the defensive secondary clamped down on Miami's group there at wide receiver. And last but not least, folks, good job by Pete Golding. Good job by Pete Golding. I know Coach Pete, he's gotten some heat. He's gotten some, he's gotten some heat. He's gotten some folks on his back about you got to play better defensively. You got to coach better defensively. You got to have the better play calls out there. Pete Golding had those guys right week 1 against Miami. Got to be happy with him as well. But as always, folks, you want the best in news, notes, information, and coverage on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. And you can download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you have the Android phone. For your audio listening needs, we got you taken care of. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio right there. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I'll be back on Wednesday continuing the conversation that is Tide football. Remember, Bama fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link will be found in the description. Also, if you're trying to get your hands on the print edition, fresh edition of TDA, the magazine, you go to touchdownalabama.com, touchdownalabama.com. You click join, become a member, a subscriber today. That link will be in the description as well. If you're also trying to get your hands on the 4-finger bling necklace, 4-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of our guys at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com, that link in the description also. But until next time, folks, husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, continue doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing. To not be bored. You get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith. You know what this is. You've been listening to In My Own Words.